We got about 70 men register. Let's see what we got on. We got some men on here. Beautiful. We got Chinzo out of Chicago. What's up, Chinzo? We got Diego from Long Beach. What's up, Diego? We got Mike from France. What up, Mike? Good to see you, brother. We got Alberta James. Amazing. We got Bo from Oregon. What's up, Bo? Chris, what's up, brother? Sedona. Who else we got in here? West Africa, Idaho. What's up, Noah? David, what's up? Who else we got in here? We got Florida, Brennan from Florida. Welcome in, Brennan. It's good to see you. Amazing. Portland, Australia. Amazing. Well, guys, I appreciate you joining Sean and I. I'm going to grab Shauna here on the screen, and it's great to see y'all today. It's great to be here. We have about 90 to 120 minutes today. We're going to be dropping in full activation. We have a presentation. We're going to start off. We're going to drop into a little bit of a breath work. So we're going to do just about one round of breath work, something really small, just to kind of get us into that present, clear, coherent state of being. And then we're going to get into a little bit of a presentation and bring you guys through this whole framework of what Sean and I have been essentially been building for a long time behind the scenes and creating this framework for what we call the elemental man and what that actually means. Because right now we know that modern masculinity is under attack in so many ways. And so we're creating a structure, a blueprint, a code for embodied leadership on this planet. And the time is now. There is no more time left to dilly dally and fuck around. It's time to step into who we truly came here to be, so that we can all give of our gifts in the most effortless and beautiful ways for this world. So I'll let Sean introduce himself, and then after that, we're going to jump into one round of some deep rhythmic breathing, set the stage, and then we'll go from there.
What's going on, guys? Good morning. It's awesome to see you all here. This has been in, like Chris said, it's been in the works for a while, and yeah, it just feels like this is the time. This is the time to go all the way in to get together in this way, and it feels important. These are unprecedented times, and I really believe that we were we're here at this point, born for this stage and all the challenges that come with it. And there's so many changing stories and so many breakdowns and build back ups that will be occurring. And it feels like we're at the forefront of an incredible story that's emerging from within all of us, and doing that together and coming together as men in this way. I know for me, there's no more powerful medicine than that. So this community and what we're doing here is meant to yeah, allow that new story to emerge. So it's really an honor to be here with you guys. And Chris and I met through men's work. That was the first time I ever ran into him, was at a space where men were getting together. And this was back during COVID. And during that time, I joined my first men's group, and I just remember feeling like, wow, this was a missing piece for me. This brought forth all the things I wasn't willing to look at, and seeing other guys do the same thing. I just didn't even know that was available. I didn't know that was happening in the world. And it was definitely one of the things that had the biggest impact. So we're really psyched to have you guys here. We're going to have an awesome presentation today. Invitation to invite in the most presence that you can for this, and just feel into what's here for you and what shows up. All of us doing that together will create a really powerful space here.
Beautiful, guys. So we'll share more about us. For those of you who don't know myself or Sean, I'm assuming most of you know me, came from my email list or somewhere from my social media. Well, Sean and I will share a little bit more about ourselves in a bit, but really, this is about you, and it's about really coming together with you guys and coming together as men, right, in this space, and joining together, even just just a few of us doing this work, the amplification and the expansion of that, it has a massive ripple effect on this planet. So I'm going to drop in for the next 13 to 14 minutes. We're going to do one round of deep rhythmic breathing. There's going to be soundscapes. You're going to hear the breath sounds. You're going to hear the whole musical journey. So if you have a pair of headphones, grab them. If you don't, you can listen through your computer sound. It's not going to be as, clear, but should be able to be able to hear and to journey. So you could do this practice sitting up, or you could do it laying down. It just depends on what you're feeling. Since it's one round of breath work, sitting up, moving that energy, really getting that chi, that prana moving, is always amazing. So I'm just going to mute myself for a second. You're going to hear the music come through, and we're just going to journey for the next few minutes, and we'll come back and go from there. And as you get yourself settled in, just finding that comfortable place, that space where you feel most relaxed. And when you feel like you're there, just inviting you to close down your eyes. And taking these next few moments to tune in with yourself, with your breath, with your body, with your heart, with your spirit. And just letting everything else go, letting it all fall away. As we take a deep, steady breath in through the nose and exhale it all the way out the mouth. Good. Another deep breath in. And let that go. Exhale it all the way out. Perfect. Again, another deep breath in. And fully let that go. Maybe sighing all the way out. Awesome. And together, we're going to come into this rhythmic breath, breathing to a 4/4 rhythm, harmonizing our internal landscape, orientating ourselves to that pure heart presence. Begin breathing, circulating this prana on my count. And 3, 2, 1. In. Bringing that breath down into the belly, down into the roots. Feeling that circulation of life force, energy. Waking up every cell. together in 3, 2, 1. Deep breath in. Hold that breath at the top. Take another sip of air. Hold it. Feel it rise up from the root to the crown. Let that out all the way down. Again, big breath in. Hold that. Squeeze that energy at the root. Lock it and bring it all the way up. Exhale that all the way out. Hold that on the out breath. Be here now. Meeting that edge. When you get the urge to breathe, push past a little bit longer. And in 3, 2, 1, deep, powerful inhale. Hold that. Feel the circulation, the flow of all that chi. And let that go. Releasing all remaining tension, letting it all go. As you remain in this still point. When you feel ready, breathing in and breathing out. In and out. Just feeling the sensations in your body. Just simply noticing what's alive and present. whenever you're ready, we'll come back into this space, opening your eyes, feeling, seeing the shift. All right. How are you feeling? Put a word in the chat. What's present for you? What's present for you? Put a word in the chat. Fresh, calm, relaxed. Excellent. Clarity, calmness, connected, dizzy. Yeah. If you're not used to breathing, it can definitely be a little bit like that. Easeful. That was much needed. Alive, tired, letting go.
Mm.
Had tears streaming down my face. Beautiful, brother. I am. Stillness, so much peace. Beautiful, brothers. Release. Just a few minutes of deep rhythmic breathing every day, it really prepares our vessel to hold, to be able to have and build that capacity, that strength, that power to hold life, to hold all the things that we have, and be able to also release and reset, recalibrate ourselves so that we can show up more embodied, more empowered in our own lives. So, thanks for taking the time to breathe and set this container right. I'm going to pass the mic over to Sean, and we're going to begin and start diving in here to the Elemental Man.
Hope you guys are, let me adjust this. Hope you guys are feeling awesome after that. I know the breath really drops me in here. Um, yeah, and to Chris's point, if you're not used to doing it, it can definitely feel a little bit dizzy sometimes. But yeah, just to start off, guys, for me, I feel really honored to be here. I know that the type of man that is attracted to a call like this is a leader in his community, in his own life, and for his family. So it feels like such an honor to be in a space with men who are that. Um, I grew up in the East Coast in Boston, and my history was anything emotional, anything that was out of pocket or out of line. It's like you don't do any of that. And I remember when I first found men's work and started doing these things where people were talking about their emotions, people were being authentic, people were speaking their truth. That was really foreign to me, and triggering, and then also super inspiring. Like, whoa, what is that? And so, yeah, when I first met Chris in Buffalo, we were dropping into a men's group, and it was one of the most powerful spaces I had been in. And Chris kind of volunteered himself to go into a healing process, and I just remember feeling like this guy right here. This is a guy I want in my life. This is a guy that just lives from the heart and is who he is. And our journey's taken us to so many different places, and we both were just so passionate about men's work and bringing guys together into this space because we both had backgrounds where um, we didn't have that, and the world that we were living in was like so opposite to that. So this is and we've been doing retreats now for a couple of years. We've been holding spaces like this, and it feels it feels amazing that to me it's like we've reached a point now where I think men are starting to really wake up, and men are starting to be like, wow, I'm not who I thought I was. The world isn't what I thought it was. And I'm interested and I'm intrigued to see who I am without all the bullshit, without all the programming and the societal conditioning and the stuff we inherited from our ancestors. So yeah, this presentation in this space today is really highlighting this time that we're in and stepping all the way in. It's so easy to go back to sleep. It's so easy to be an autopilot. So easy to cope with all the stuff that's happening right now. And through the power of community and getting together intentionally in this way, we're gonna need that. We're really gonna need that. So yeah, like I said, it's an honor to be here with you guys, and um, we're gonna have a great presentation today.
All right, guys. Appreciate you sharing that, brother. And yeah, we like Sean said, we need each other right now. This is the time. We've been saying, hey, we've been at the 11th hour for a long time, right? And we've been at this precipice, but really this year, 2026, I've been writing articles on this on my Substack. If you've been following me, that this year is the threshold. Next year is everything's going to change for good. The world as we know it is not going to be the same. And so there is a sort of I don't want to say it's not a pressure inducing thing, but it is sort of like, hey, calling the right men forward into this movement and this way of being in community and tribe. Because the thing is that for most of our 99% of human history, we've had tribe, we've had community, and we've lost that since pretty much the past few hundred years. Since the corporations started taking over, since the Industrial Revolution wanted to put everybody into silos and basically one man for himself. Whereas before, we've always been connected. We've always sat around the fire. And I know that every man listening to this right now can feel that within themselves. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. Put a one in your chat if you can feel that. It's like, man, I've been here before. I know what it means to be around other men, but I don't know where to go because I don't have that community in my area, right? I don't have men to go to or to turn to, and I'm in this place of isolation. See a lot of you, yeah, 111, including myself. It's sometimes really difficult to find. And so hence why I'm answering this call and hence why Sean and I are bringing this together. So let me bring up the screen here and let's dive in. So we know what the crisis of I'm not we're this part of it. I just want to make sure it's like very much highlighted. Really, the core of what we're going to present is our model of what the elemental man means. But we know this, right? We can relate to this of feeling disconnected, overwhelmed, and undersupported, feeling completely isolated, like we're on our own. We're carrying the weight of the world. We have our job, we may have our family, we may have children, right? I'm a father myself. I have a 6-year old, and I look around and I look at the system and how fucking broken it is, right? How many men I in the past 2 months, and just in 2 months, and this doesn't count the past 2 years, 3, 4 years, I have seen so many men die by the hand of suicide or fall into addiction or fall into some sort of mental crisis because they can no longer hold that energy anymore. They can't not only hold their own emotions that they've been suppressing for so long, but then on top of it, their partner, their kids, their job, all of the things just to make ends meet and just to get by, right? And it just doesn't work anymore. And that's why there's a greater call, and why a lot of us feel this call is to come together in this way, right? We're told all of these things, right? And there's so much deep programming that is instilled within the masculine. And in my opinion, it's to keep the masculine down and weak. Because if you had conscious, intentional, integrated, balanced men that are actually in their power, the world wouldn't look the way it does. There wouldn't be this sort of docile, sort of, mediocrity, this complacency that we see from so many men. We would see men living into their dharma and their purpose and actually serving the world and being a steward and a leader and all of the things that we're designed to be. But there's so much pressure, right? And right now, the collapse of the old models of masculinity have been brought into question for a bit now, right? There's been a lot of people that have written about this. There's a lot of people that have been speaking about this. I know I've felt this myself. I know Sean has felt this. But now it's like, okay, we know what the crisis is. We know what the problem is. We can talk about the problem all day, and there's plenty of podcasts and books that talk about the problem. But what's the solution? Right? That's what we're gonna get into today.
Yeah, so just to go into this for a second, guys, and this is so much of this is unconscious, right? So much of this is just very deep within our psyche, and we feel shame. It's like it. Oh, and I have a little bit of an echo here. One sec. All right, we'll roll with it. So this is just these are all things that we inherited from our ancestors, from our dads, our grandparents, and our culture. And you know, these modern times aren't built to help us go through these passageways, these new cycles of life that are emerging. So it's not it's so easy to put the blame on yourself and feel like a victim and feel like it's something that you did and you're a failure and all these things, but really this is we were born into a system that was designed to keep men disconnected from their power. That's just the way that it is. So if there's any blame going on, it's like we really want to put the spotlight on that because uh, we have to come to the truth of this is something that's in front of us that was imprinted onto us, and now it's our responsibility to free ourselves from that. And so yeah, we're going to go into the failures of modern masculinity, and like Chris said, this is just to highlight the things that are here to show that it's not personal. Like I just want to highlight that again. It's easy to take things personally, make it about you, but really this is all about a system, and these are all about behavioral and psychic imprints that we have from our ancestors that we're dealing with here. So yeah, disconnection from the body, right? If you look around and even in your own experience, right, there's so much numbness. It's like constant stress. Our nervous systems are freaking shot, and we weren't taught tools how to regulate. We weren't taught how to um, really use our own bodies, right? And everything is forcing us up in our mind. And as men, we learn this from our dads, right? It's like you go up in your head and you try to figure shit out, and that just isn't gonna work anymore. And that's why we're chronically tense. I know I was laughing the other day. I gave one of my buddies a hug and I was like, dude, you are granite. Like, when's the last time you got some body work? Or, he's just so tight. And it was from chronic stress. He's just always in that tension without realizing it. So, um, a big part of the deconditioning is going to be getting back to our bodies. But yeah, if you look across the board, men are really disconnected from their vessel right now. And then, of course, disconnected from emotion. Uh, I don't know about you guys, and I'm sure, but for me, again, Boston guy, don't show your emotion. Don't be vulnerable. Don't speak from those places. Just and for me, I was a big time people pleaser, so I just always wanted people to like me. I wanted to fit in. I wanted to be accepted. And on top of that, there's the don't be a pussy, don't be a bitch, suck it up, don't show emotion. My dad never showed emotion. I don't think I saw my dad cry once. Like I think my whole life, for the most part. Um, so because of that emotional illiteracy, yeah, we just don't know how much that's actually affecting us because the emotion that's trapped in our body is influencing our thought and our behavior all the time, every single day. And that emotion is tied to beliefs that are going on. So again, for men, living up in our head is really it's hurting us in a bad way. And it's like I don't know. I feel life is directing us to show like, hey, your intuition's going to start to lead the way. You're not meant to navigate life anymore through your mind and just figuring stuff out. It's going to be instinct, intuition, listening to your own internal guidance system, and it's unfamiliar for us because we've had a lifetime of the opposite. So um, this is what's going to be coming in. But yeah, of course, you look across the board and we're seeing guys that are very emotionally illiterate, and in some ways, I still am too.
Yeah, and a big part of this, and I actually put a one in the chat. If you grew up without a father that was connected to himself and his emotions, or actually even spoke from that place, put a one in the chat. If you did not grow up with a father with any, yeah, most of you guys, right? So, what happens when we don't have a role model of masculinity to actually really show us what it means to be anchored in your body, to be leading from this place of your heart, right? We're not talking about overly emotional. We're just actually connected to what's alive and what's present within us, right? We've been left to figure out all of this ourselves. We've been left to actually go through this without any manual. And so perhaps maybe we had a mentor or role model if we're lucky, but for most of us, it's been a lone wolf journey. It's like, hey, what does masculinity even mean? What does it mean to even be connected to my body, to my emotions? What does any of this mean? For me personally, I have a father that unfortunately has his own wounding and traumas that he has yet to come face to face with, and he's been pretty much living in this internal space where he will just be extremely stoic, right? And the only time that he will actually show any emotion or actually go deep into what has transpired through his life is if he's had a couple drinks, right? And that's the only way in which he'll open up. Other than that, it's just a shut down force field of energy that can't be, it's a full barrier that you can't get through. And so for me personally, I grew up as a very, a highly sensitive young boy, right? And I lived in a household mainly with two women, with my sister and my mom, who were also very disconnected from themselves because of the way of not having that anchor point in our household as a healthy male figure that can actually hold down a household, right? And be and show up as someone that is integrated in both his mind and his heart. And so my mom had to take on that masculine role and be in this place where basically she was working two jobs, she was overly stressed, then she would take it out on me and my sister. And so it was just this cycle, right? And we see this all of the time, all of these broken families, and it's all a result of this systemic problem that has gone on for centuries, for so long, and we're carrying generational trauma. And that's why, beyond anything, that's why this work is so important. Men's work, speaking to that, as well as brotherhood and coming together, is because we're breaking these cycles, not only for ourselves, but for our children. If you have children, if you have, young kids, or even teenage kids or young adults, doesn't matter. You're doing this for them so that they're not carrying this forward any longer, and the cycle stops with you, because this is going to keep carrying out through generation after generation unless we actually do something about it. And we're going to go deeper into what that actually means and how do we do something about it. The other two issues we have here is a disconnection from purpose, right? A lot of us, we are just doing things that our parents told us to do. Go to school, get this job, work hard, earn this X amount of money, show up for your family, and that's it. And that's fine. And at times we have to do that, right? We have to provide in that way to make ends meet, to be able to show up for our our partner and our children. But a man without purpose is very dangerous, because when we are living without purpose, we have no sense of direction, right? We're not orientated towards a place or a path of service. We're sort of walking aimlessly. And it can feel really tense and confusing, because a core part of our makeup as men is to be living into something greater than ourselves, to be living into a mission that is connected to our soul, that is connected to our heart. And when we don't have that clear direction, we fall into this place of depression, right? Soul sickness is what we like to call it. And when we're in that place of depression, everything else feels like it's closing in on us. And so, in many ways, when we are living into and actually unlocking the sense of purpose within us, then we get to give back of our gifts, our natural talents to the world and make this world a better place as a result. Right. And there's a couple different realms of purpose that we like to speak to. One is our inner purpose. This is the our inherent energy that we're here to embody and share through our light, through our gifts, and so forth. And just by being us authentically in the world. Then there's our outer purpose, which is more like our vocation. How are we being of service? In what ways are we giving back? Whatever that means to you. And we're going to go deeper into how to actually discover that in a bit. But this is massive. And as it says here in this last line, purpose is oxygen for the masculine. And I can attest that to myself, right? Feeling into me walking this path for a while, being in this space, this entrepreneurial space, and all of my businesses, all of what I do in this space of transformation is always lighting me up and is what feels most excited for me and walking this path of self mastery and sharing this with others. And then the last piece is, which we spoke to right before, is disconnection from brotherhood. All of us trying to just do this alone, trying to heal alone, trying to grow alone, trying to rise alone. We know what that feels like. We know what the lone wolf path feels like. We were never really introduced to mentors or these circles or support systems. Women are actually much better at this. Women are much more attuned to be able to gather and to receive support from each other. But because of our programming, because of our distrust in the masculine, because of all of these different conditioning, we end up doing it alone because if we ask for help or if we actually inquire about, hey, where are men meeting, right? That might look bad on us because we think we got it. But at the end of the day, we are never meant to do this by ourselves. It's not possible. I can tell you that and be as straightforward as possible. I am where I am today because of the other men in my life. I could probably pick up my phone right now and call 7 to 10 men that would, if I was in a crisis or I was needing support, they would immediately drop what they're doing and support me. Ask yourself that. How many of you right here, right now, can actually pick up the phone and call someone that would be able to support you? Maybe some of you, but for a lot of men out there, it's almost, we're in a place of loneliness and isolation. Hence why we see the suicide, the addiction. We see all of the things that are happening with men these days. So brotherhood is everything. It strengthens us. It empowers us. It holds us accountable. It challenges us. It brings us into a place where we can say, "Hey, I'm having a hard fucking time right now. I'm really going through it. I need help. Can you brothers support me?" Or, "Hey, I had this big win. I had this amazing thing happen and I need your support to help me celebrate this, to help me rise into greater heights, to help me live into my greatness." That's what this is all about.
So the
Sean, go
elemental
ahead,
the
brother.
elemental man. So this is kind of going into that solution place now. Um, we both believe that there's a new embodied masculine archetype that's emerging from within us because of the times that we're in. And it's an integration of, the mind, body, and the spirit. It's a connection to the earth. It's a connection to the elements that make up your being, and it's bringing that into complete awareness. Um, you know, we're so conditioned to being pulled outside of us and being distracted and kind of in a hypnosis of the material world, you could say, that it is challenging to go within yourself and to sit in that void and to get to know who you are without getting pulled out here. So the embodied masculine archetype is going to be a guy who has an integrated masculine and feminine polarity within himself, meaning that he's not leading with his head anymore. He's not trying to force or control things and bulldoze his way through life. Life is now moving through, in, and as him, and he's open to receiving that, and he's in tune with his emotions, he's in tune with his own intuition. And again, this is going to be the guiding force because there's way too much information, there's way too much stimuli, and so that intuitive guidance from within you is going to be the only thing that can guide you to bring you to the right place, to uh, bring in the ideas that you're needing to like Chris said, be in that sense of purpose and actually express your gifts, because every one of us here has an innate purpose. It's just built in. It's a blueprint, and it unfolds the more that we're just open to receive it. So this archetype that's opening up is this man, in this version of masculinity, uh, is going to be, it's going to look a lot different than what our fathers modeled and what our grandparents modeled. And I think it's really exciting because we're at the precipice of this. We're the ones that are uh, allowing this to emerge from within us and then carrying it forward.
Hey, Sean, before you go forward, I'm gonna just share a couple more things that came through.
Yeah.
Um, So a big part of this work, right, and everything that I teach, that Sean teaches, is based on the law of correspondence and hermetics, which is essentially as within, so without. So anything that we're experiencing externally, right, any strife, challenge, hardships, anything like that, is all a result of what's happening within us, right? Equally, the success, the abundance, the freedom, all of the things that we're experiencing in that way, it all comes from within us. And so as we go deeper within ourselves, as we cultivate this inner strength, as we cultivate this inner power, as we step deeper into the merging and a deeper relationship with our inner masculine and feminine, this is how we're creating a new life. This is how we're creating a new world, right? And it all begins within all of us. And that's why this archetype, the elemental man, which we've created here, is doing this work and from this lens of self mastery, and that we are all connected so intimately with nature itself. We are nature. Nature is within us. And if we look at, and we'll go deeper into this in a moment, if we look at nature, right, the mirror of nature for our soul, and to be in nature, right, and to spend time and to go out into the elements, to commune with the earth, with the land, this is a big part of this archetype, because this is what brings us into deeper recognition of ourselves and to deeper clarity of our path and our purpose. Go ahead, Sean.
Hmm. Yeah. So I mean, so to Chris's point, it's a whole different experience of yourself when you are working with these elements within you, when you're working with the earth within you, the fire, the water, the air, and what they represent within you. When you become aware of these things, it changes your whole orientation of being a human. And so what we're bringing in here is to not only bring awareness, but show you guys how to, and this is a practice we dive really deeply into ourselves, how to actually work with these things within us. So we're going to dive into that right now. So first, Earth. This is the grounded leader, right? I was saying earlier, so many of us and just society in general disconnects men from their bodies because they're up in their head all day, they're stressed, they're thinking, they're in the thought realm, and their nervous system is fried from that, right? So we went over the problems of that. So the what we see coming through when you start to work with the earth within yourself is you're grounded in your body. You're taking care of your body. You're moving. You're anchoring yourself in your body. So your mind and your body are connected. And you feel a sense of stability within you, grounded purpose, grounded intention. You have boundaries because I'll just speak from the heart on my own journey. I was so disconnected and ungrounded for myself, and I had so much shame, and I was such a people pleaser, yes man. I had no boundaries. It was like it's all good to everything. I didn't want to say anything that upset people. And this affected my life so much in ways that I didn't realize it. Um, and what I guess what's coming up for me is it's like when that is happening within you, uh, your all of your energy is stagnant, and your sexual energy is suppressed, and you're just basically communicating unconsciously to life that hey, I'm just passively moving through this thing. I'm not here to penetrate. I'm not here to rock the boat. I'm just here to fit in and get accepted. Hopefully, maybe I'll get some love. So the grounded earth-led leader within you is going to be disciplined. He's going to look at his patterns. He's going to be living his life very intentionally. He's going to be present with himself. I think that's the other big thing too is like, yeah, we're shedding our identities. We're coming into this place of I am the awareness in the space beyond the story of myself, the idea of myself, like, who I thought Sean was and his history and what he's capable of. All of those things start to melt away as I come into a place of presence, and only from that place can true possibility exist. It's like I can't really do anything when I'm in the story of Sean, but when I'm in presence and I'm observing the voices that are trying to tell me I can, and all the doubt and the fear, when I'm present with that, that is letting that part of me know that there's something there holding it now. And so doing that enough and bringing presence to that, it's like that's what true integration is. It integrates the fears, the doubts, the negative narration that's gone in your head that you thought has been you this for your whole life. And so the question that Earth answers is, can I stand strong when life gets loud? Because when you start really waking up and you start really connecting yourself, this shit's gonna get loud. The outside world's gonna get loud, flashy, distracting. And can you ground into yourself no matter what the chaos is going out here and maintain that presence, maintain that part of you that's just the observer, noticing these things going on because we will increasingly see the world get louder and try to pull you away from that.
And also, this is all connected to the root chakra, right? So if you've experienced, moments in your life where, and I'm sure all of you can relate to this, right? Where you feel unsafe, or you feel insecure, or you're in this place of survival mode, right? Where you're just running on fumes, burnt out, overwhelmed, all of that. This is connected. The earth is connected to the root chakra, right? And as we rise from this place and ground into ourselves, and we'll share some practices we've already did. Sean shared some great tips here, but really taking time, just simply putting your feet in the ground, standing tall, your arms out in receptivity, and just breathing into the earth as a symbiotic relationship with the earth is creating then charging up your power center. And of course, all of this is then in the internal work of getting really clear on yourself, getting really clear on where you still might be living into some of these patterns of scarcity, of survival, and so forth. But we have to create that root sense of safety in order to be able to rise from within and connect to this grounded leader and be that oak tree amongst all of the chaos and craziness that's happening in the world. Because the world is going to need us and more grounded men in order to stand tall and to be that pillar when shit gets even crazier, because we're just at the beginning of what is about to transpire over these coming months and years. Go ahead, Sean.
Yeah, just I guess the last thing I want to say with this is, I wasn't aware of this for most of my life, and I think it's so incredible that we have the awareness now and the intelligence to realize like, oh, I am nature. My body comes from nature. I am one with nature, actually. And it's not just like this hippie thing to say. You can actually go outside, and there's a technology of being able to put your hands, and I've been doing this a lot more recently, putting your hands on the earth and saying like, hey, Mother Earth, take this resistance, take this stress, take this shame in my body, whatever it is. And she does that. You can feel that energy leave your body, and it actually does create sustenance for the earth because she converts that energy into useful things because nature is very orderly like that. So this archetype is a guy who knows that he has to be using and connecting to nature in that way. And again, life is kind of forcing us into this place where we got to do these things. And if we don't, we'll suffer, and there'll be a lot of negative consequences of that. But it's, to me, it's all here to push us into this new space where we're learning that these are kind of almost like hygiene things, like taking a shower, brushing your teeth, like connecting to the earth every day and grounding in, because we really are going to need that moving forward. Okay, we have the fire. So Chris was speaking to purpose earlier. This is working with the fire within you, right? This is your mission. This is courage. This is moving in a very intentional direction. It's shadow work. It's looking at those parts of yourself that feel, yeah, there's a lot of fear wrapped around that. To look at the thing you feel the most shame around that you try to hide is not easy. To look at yourself in the mirror for like 10 minutes and really hold a space of love and get over all the judgment and all the negative things that can come up. That's really working with your fire. And it's so, with these patterns that we have and with the way that the world is, it's like it's so easy to lose sense of who you are. It's so easy to lose that purpose and that mission of why I'm here. And that fire carries you forward. That fire is saying, in the face of the biggest doubt that might come up, when you decide to, this is the man that I'm going to be and this is the way that I'm living my life, it's inevitable, right? All of the doubts, all of the fears, all of the ways that you've been playing small, all of the insecurities, they have to come up, and through that fire they get purified. Fire truly is, it's awareness, it's steady awareness, and bringing all of those old aspects of you into that fire to be purified, and to claim and to be in that conviction of, this is who I am, this is where I'm going, is really getting to know your fire. Because again, as we go towards our freedom, this is where our shadows all come into the light. This is where all of the deepest shit that we didn't want to look at, the cave that we feared to enter, this is all going to come to the forefront. And it's no joke. I do a lot of shamanic work with people with psychedelics and other things, and just on a spiritual level. And I've had to really learn to step into my fire and to hold more of that, and your capacity to hold more of that increases, and your the cells of your body are actually able to hold more light. When your body's like, I can't do anymore, it's like you lean in and expand into that, and you say, no, I can hold all of this. Anything that's showing up, I can work with my fire, I can stand in my fire, and I can purify this. There's nothing that can actually touch me, and I'm here to burn away, to let burn away all the parts of me that aren't the man that I'm choosing to be and the man that I was created to be. So fire answers the question, what am I here to do, and what do I got to let go of to step into it? And you might have to lie down in your bed, as I had to do when it came to like survival energy and lack and poverty and victimhood. Sometimes you just got to lie in your bed and just open up and be like, take it all. Like, just feel that alchemy of fire just engulf all of those parts of you while you're present and while you're the space for it. So fire is, it's a huge element to work with, and to me, it feels like this thing that as men we can even be afraid of too. Ooh, I don't want to have too much fire. I don't want to upset people or trigger people. But you know what? It's like, when you start again working with this, you're going to do that. You're going to piss people off when you're speaking your truth and you're showing up in this way. People are going to look at you differently. People are going to judge the shit out of you, and it's like, that's okay. That's okay. That's a man who is, um and it might be a little too fiery at times, but we're learning to work with this within us. So, yeah, anything you want to add to that at all, Chris?
Yeah, I would just say that, as we go through this too, just kind of correlating here of how this is all connected to ourselves and to our energy centers, right? And this is also that place of alchemy, which is our sacral solar plexus, right? And this is really where this fire element comes into play. And, through Sean, touched on the shadow, and we go much deeper into this in our other teachings, but shadow work is huge because shadow work is the way in which we begin to transmute our darkness into light. And when we no longer fear those places, those dark, heavy, dense places, and we begin to go deep into them, we begin to realize there's actually a lot of gold to be mined there. And that's where a lot of our creative life force energy, because everybody's creative, no matter what you tell yourself. And creativity is not just linked to the arts, right? We are creator beings. We are powerful creator beings. We have the ability to create the reality that we desire. And as you go deep into yourself, this is where we begin to self source our own power, our own fire, to be able to then step forth in conviction of our truth and our purpose and begin to walk that path fully. Right. And to fully be convicted that we are walking the path that we are designed to walk. And through that lens and through this lens of service, we begin to expand in so many different ways. Anything else, Sean?
No, I feel good on that one.
Cool. All right, so now we're going to go into air. This is the conscious creator, right? And this is working with our vision, right? And working with our sense of awareness, right? Working with the imagination, being able to work with our mindset, right? Because air is governing the mind. And in so, what ways is our mind polluting our body, or is polluting our sense and perception of reality, right? How many of us are carrying so many limiting beliefs about ourselves? All of this unworthiness that is locked into the deep into the subconscious mind. When we begin to work with the element of air, right, which is also working with the element of breath, we are purifying and cleansing ourselves to allow ourselves to open to a new perspective, to a new way of seeing the world. And as each of us being these creator beings, we are all creating our own version of reality every second of every single day. With the question is whether we're doing that unconsciously or consciously. Unconsciously is allowing the subconscious to dictate our reality and living on autopilot. Consciously, we are working with these programs that have been installed into the hardware system of our mind and being able to defrag and unlearn all of these things. And through that, we begin to see with clarity. And when we're clear, right, what happens? Everything else begins to expand, right? We are anchored in our values, we are anchored in our vision, and we can't be swayed off path. Sure, we're flexible, we're malleable, we're adaptable, but we are convicted on who we are and the path that we're walking. And therefore, everything else, all of the other patterns of people pleasing, of self sabotage, of perfectionism, of all the other, these are behavioral symptoms. All of that begins to be put aside, and we become absolutely clear and confident in the path that we're walking. And so, error answers, do I see clearly enough to lead myself forward? So, working with this element of error, again, breath, it interfaces with all of them because it really is the ether. But in this context, working with breath is huge and allowing us to clarify our inner sight and our inner vision.
Yeah, one thing to add to that, Chris, what comes up for me is 8 years ago, I was doing Uber. I did 6,000 rides, so I met like so many different human beings, and I would always ask the question, what would you be doing? What would your life look like? What would your story be if fear wasn't there, if money wasn't a thing? And the thing that shocked me was most people had no idea how to answer that. They never thought of it. They never gave themselves permission to even entertain that. And I bring that up because working with air, working with the mind, your thoughts, um, it's like this is creative energy. So many of us loop in patterns of thought all day, and we don't have any creative thoughts. We don't have any attention that goes to, hey, what story do I actually want to be living in? What does that look like? Starting to like train your neural synapses to be in that story, to bring it into your body. Like holding your attention on the things that expand you, not on the same bullshit problems that we got going on and the things that create stress. So there's a big responsibility, like I'm a big Bible guy from the sense of metaphorically. They always talk about the shepherd and the sheep and the flock. This is about being a masterful shepherd and taming your flock. So when the sheep wanders in doubt or fear or laziness or victimhood, whatever it is, are you aware enough to bring that, to guide that sheep back into wholeness, into truth, and continue to maintain the story that you would like to create, and realize that your mind is yours, and it can actually be your greatest ally, your best friend, something that works for you and brings you the things that you're needing instead of working against you. And I think a lot of as men, a lot of us are, we have an addiction to thinking about our problems, right? And so just like we're doing here, we want to start to shift that mindset to becoming solution oriented, becoming creative with our thoughts and where they're going, and being super responsible for them. Easier said than done, but just wanted to highlight that.
Another thing too here is that even asking the question, right? This is an open-ended question. This isn't perhaps a immediate dropped-in answer download that's going to come through, but a question I like to ask myself is this: what is seeking to emerge through me? Right? If I'm in a co-creative dance with life, with the intelligence of life, we can call it God, we can call it Great Spirit, we can call it, infinite intelligence, we can call it the one, whatever we want to name it. It doesn't matter what the name is. What is seeking to emerge through me? Because I'm in a relationship with life. And as I allow that answer to emerge in its own natural form, I may be surprised. There might be something so deep, right? But that's allowing me, I have to put my ego aside. I have to put all of my preconceived notions, beliefs, stories, narratives, judgments, and so forth aside and allow me to be that vessel in which life moves through me, in which I'm in this co creative dance with life itself. And this is a part of this purification process. As we purify our vessels, as we cleanse and clear all of these stagnant, old, outdated identities, then we become a vessel for which life can move through, a conduit, a channel. And that's how we become of service to something greater. So you might want to ask yourself and consider and contemplate that question. Take that with you. Another great question is, as Sean mentioned, what would I be doing? If money were no issue, what would I be doing with my life? Perhaps you can answer that now. Perhaps you might even want to put that in the chat. What would you be doing if money were no issue in your life? What is your higher vision for yourself? Is that something that is present for you? And just consider these things. And the last question I'll leave here as well is, how can I be of the greatest service to the whole? That's a question from the Gene Keys. And if you guys have been in some of my past trainings, I did teach a lot on the Gene Keys. How can I be of the greatest service to the whole? Okay, now we get to the water element. Okay, and this is the heart-centered man. This is emotional depth. This is intimacy. This is connection. This is empathy. This is healing. And I know that this might be a stretch for some of you that have been disconnected from yourselves for so long. When we hear the word intimacy, what is that? What does that trigger in you? Emotional depth, what does that trigger in you? A lot of this is the work that I feel is the most important. Now they're all equally important, but this work is can be quite a stretch because we're not attuned to this, right? And when we begin to open up our heart center, wow, the opening that happens in our lives, in our relationships. How many women, I hear it all the time, right? I serve both men and women. I have thousands and thousands and thousands of people I've worked with over the years, and the number one question that I get from women is, you know, why isn't my man connected to himself and to his heart? And women, they don't need you to be overly emotional. That's not what this is about. This is just being attuned and present to yourself and ultimately to her so that you're a safe space and can hold the energy. And when there is a heavy load of emotion, there is shame and guilt and fear and all of these and anger, bring that to your brothers. Bring that into the space of your brothers to be able to let that go and to let that be cleansed and purified. And then you can go show back up in your relationship stronger, more empowered, more clear. Too many times what I often see is, I coach a lot of men as well. And what I see is that, their partners, they might be complaining about this, but then when we're dumping all of our stuff onto them, it can almost feel like they're our mother, right? And that's also creates a discharge of polarity in the relationship. And that's again why these brotherhood circles are so important because we can bring all of this to the table and there's nothing that's off limits here. And water
Yeah.
answers, am I connected to my heart or am I living from my armor? Right? Because most of us, let's be real, we have these protection mechanisms, these walls, these barriers that we put up. And this creates a whole slew of problems in our relationships, in our business, in our families, with our children. And so connecting to our heart and leading from that place while still using the mind to be able to integrate, to build the systems and the structures. It's all important. And so the elemental man is equal to the integrated man, integrating all of these elements into yourself and leading from this place. That is an unfuckwithable, unstoppable type of man, in my opinion.
And
Sean, do you have anything else?
one other question that comes up for me that I just want to put forth is just tune in with yourself for a moment and just feel into who would I be with my heart open? Who would I be with a heart that's open and not shut down and closed off? Because for all of us in here in different ways at different levels, we learn to live life with a shut down heart. It's not safe to feel, it's not safe to show vulnerability, and maybe there's a lot of disappointment, maybe a lot of negative traumatic things have happened in our life, and so we've shut down, and that's where a lot of that autopilot comes from. And to start to tune in with who would I be with my heart wide open to receive love. This is another thing too, like with a lot of retreats that I've done and a lot of the men that I've worked with, this is one of the biggest blocks that I see universally. Men with their heart shut down and they're not able to receive. They're not in a state of receptivity, right? And because of that, they're in that place of, I got to do this all on my own. I got to figure this out instead of being in a co-creative place with the field, with source, right? With the energy all around you. You're broadcasting a place of protection. I'm not open to receive. I'm holding on to the things that I know. And I'm afraid of love. I might get let down. I might feel that disappointment again. I might feel the shame again. And again, becoming that space and that man with an open heart, that's like, hey, I'm going to love and be present with whatever shows up. And I'm not afraid anymore. And I'm open to receiving what life has for me. I really, truly feel like this is one of the biggest things that leads to suffering for men, having a shutdown heart. And so to me, this is one of the biggest pieces here is being a leader of your life, of your community, of your family, and what you imprint on your children and what we all imprint on the future generations. It's like we're here to show the world what a man looks like who's living and walking with an open heart and isn't afraid and shut down when everything around him says that he should be shut down. And his body and his biology is like, well, remember this? This could happen again. Like, don't do that. Can you keep your shoulders up and your chest out and say, "No, I'm here to receive life. I'm here to live. I'm here to be awake. I'm here to feel everything that there is to feel, and to lead yourself from that place where now life can bless you because you're broadcasting receptivity, and now you can actually receive the things that you're needing, and you're not holding on to the same bullshit anymore. So this is a really big one, guys, that I feel really passionate about, because I had my heart shut down for a long time, and oh my God, when I opened it again, it was like, I'm crying every other day, and I'm seeing life in a whole new way, and it's moving through my heart, and I'm feeling like the zest of life again, and it's been a big part of my journey. So I wanted to share that part.
Yeah, and the last thing I'll say here before we move on to the last few slides is this, is that, you know, a big part of this work again that Sean and I do, right? There's a lot of men's work out there, right? Maybe you've interfaced with some of them. There's a lot of great groups out there. And I've been a part of them myself and all of that. But a lot of what these men's groups they lead from is just still like a very like alpha type of place, which again, there's that element of the alpha and being in your power and being strong is beautiful, and there's a part of we need to step into that and not be passive. But when that alpha does not have and is not integrated in his heart, well, it doesn't last for long. And honestly, that is the part that most men's work misses, in my opinion. I've been in so many different groups. I've led groups. I've been a student in groups. And I can tell you firsthand, out of all these years, this is the number one component that most men's groups and brotherhoods they miss completely. And that's why I would say if there's anything unique that Sean and I bring to the table in our retreats and all the stuff what we do, it's the heart component. Because for me, that component is everything. And once that is working and flowing, wow, your entire life just from this component alone changes. And all of that power, that clarity, that truth, all that strength, all of that turns on as and activated as a result from living from this place of the heart. So, Sean, go ahead, brother.
Yeah. So when all the things that we just shared and spoke to, when all of these elements start to come together within you, to us, that's true alignment. That's true integration, right? There's not an imbalance going on where there's, way more fire and very little earth, or a lot of air without water going on, because that can cause a lot of issues. When these things are balanced within us, and we're holding our attention on that balance, and doing these practices and embodying this stuff, this is where that the new identity of you, of all of us, is gonna come forth. And this age that we're living in, this is all about balance. Can we have a balance within us so that we're not in addiction and coping, and doing the pendulum swing back and forth between pleasure and pain? I'm awake, I'm here, and then I'm back to sleep. Finding your way to that nice middle place where we're in a beautiful symbiotic relationship with all of these elements within us. And this is what embodiment is all about, right? It's like, because I know, from I can speak to myself, and I know you guys can relate to me on this. It's awesome to listen to podcasts and YouTube videos and take courses and do all these things, right? That get you on this high and give you a dopamine hit, and stimulate your mind and expand you. That's all awesome. But such a missing piece of all of this is integrating all of that into your body, embodying these things, right? And not using them as a pacifier anymore to distract you and take you away from feeling things that need to be felt. The integrated man, the embodied man, is not getting lost in that distraction. And because I did this for years, I would just get high off taking in spiritual information, truthful information, but then it wouldn't really get me anywhere. And I'm seeing the same issues, I'm seeing the same problems surrounding me. Only when you bring this into your body and you start living with these every day, and you make them an automatic thing in your subconscious, is the only time things actually shift and change. And You alchemize the cells of your body to reflect that new story of this new man who is balanced, who is in harmony with these different elements, who's aware of himself, who lives from his heart. And this is such a missing piece when you look around. Our heads are getting bigger and our bodies are just getting more disconnected. Our brains are growing, but our bodies are still numbing out. So just wanted to highlight that because this is part of that archetype that we feel really is emerging, and it comes from that place of embodiment. And so what becomes possible when this happens? And again, this has been another huge part of my journey. I did a lot of waffling. I would get really strong in my mission, and then I would fall back. I would get a high sense of purpose, and then I would lose it again. I would show up on my relationships, and then I would disappear. A lot of back and forth. So when this is embodied, this is a lifestyle. It's an of course. You're doing this every day because it's just who you are. You know, you're not a guy that's trying to be fit or trying to quit smoking or trying to quit porn. You're the guy that doesn't do any of those things because he's way too busy living his fucking life and living in his purpose and playing his role, right? So and when you do this, your legacy is going to become clear because this is all going to start to emerge from within you, and that chaos and that entropy that you might have been in your life where things are feeling confusing and all over the place and just very disorderly, everything starts to come into this really nice order, and you realize that intention is just who you are. You're taking agency to wake up and make sure that you're doing that embodiment practice, that you're holding your attention in these places. And it's not even a thought anymore of doubting yourself. It's not even a thought anymore of like, oh, maybe that's not my mission, or maybe like I should be doing something different. That voice just goes away because that identity's gone. Because you've done it enough times where when that voice does come up, you're able to hold your attention on what's true and what's real and where you're going and who you are. And that is going to starve the weeds of that past program and that past identity of you when the attention's not on them anymore. And the attention's here in the present moment. And you keep anchoring that in again and again and again. And then all of these things start to emerge within you. So it's like we're entering the space of all these new incredible possibilities that we didn't have access to before when these things were looping in our bodies and our thought patterns were keeping us stuck and trapped, and we were more in the unconscious place. We're entering into the realm of all possibility and realizing that we can actually have that and we have permission to live as that. And that's really exciting. And again, with all of us doing this and creating a field of that together in community, holy shit, there's nothing more powerful than that. We know that coherence is scientifically, it's the most powerful energy we can work with on this planet. That's where all the solutions come from, is coherence and order. And so a community that has coherence and is all holding the attention in these places is going to be unstoppable, and it's a necessity for the world that we're in and where we're going. And so yeah, it's like we're opening up to these possibilities, and it's actually starting to crystallize, and we're actually starting to feel like you can have that. Oh, I am that already. I'm here. Let's go. So these are some of the things that are going to start to open up when we deepen this work and we're doing it together.
Yeah. Yeah. And guys, listen, there's going to be more distractions. There's going to be more bullshit happening. There's going to be a lot of things that are going to try to sway you away from anything that we're talking about today. Let's just be fucking real. Like it's going to happen. You might walk out of this presentation today and something tries to hook your attention, right? And whether that's on the internet or whether that's in your immediate environment, it's going to happen. But how do we actually create the coherence as Sean was talking about? How do we actually create the strength? How do we actually anchor into something powerful and meaningful? Because you can listen to Sean or I all day and fucking sit up here and be like, yeah, this all sounds good, and have this hurrah session. But if there's no action from it, then it just is going to go in one year, out the other, and then you're going to forget about this tomorrow and just keep living your life. And we don't obviously want that to happen. We didn't create this for that to happen. And so, for the next just about 7 minutes, we're going to share something with you. And of course, if you have any questions, you can ask. But we have said, okay, here's the framework, here's the blueprint that we've created. Here's all of this that over all these years and 20 plus years combined of being in this space of self mastery, what is the actual solution here? What is the way? And so Sean and I came together and we have officially launched the Elemental Brotherhood. So this is an online space, a brotherhood for you to walk into literally starting today. You can step into the door and you can start contributing. This is not Sean and I on a pedestal teaching all of these things. Yes, we're going to be doing that. We're going to be sharing our wisdom we've gained, our lived experience, but this is a co-creative space because if we are going to create this world that we all envision in which there are tribes and communities coming together where we are living our passion, walking our purpose, we need each other. And again, there's brotherhoods out there, there's men's groups out there, but what we're bringing together we find to be, pretty unique. So this is a space, an inner circle for you to heal your deepest imprints, awaken your power, and rise into purpose-driven embodied leadership in service to creating a better world. So there's a higher mission to this, right? And there's something bigger to this than just ourselves, but it is the most important to focus on ourselves to heal these imprints. So we're not carrying this generational trauma. So we're not repeating the same patterns, the same cycles, all the bullshit that we're passing down, right? It stops with us and it ends with us. And from there, we rise into our sense of power, right? And like, I know right now, in this moment, right? If I can say this to myself, I'm anchored in my heart space. I know who the fuck I am, and nothing can sway that. Sure, I might have my moments in which I might be feeling, tired. There might be moments in which I'm doubting myself, but at the end of the day, I'm coming back to the center place, and I know who I am. And the world can't take that from me because I'm walking as a man in conviction, and that is a man that can't be fucked with. And that is a man that can show up for his family and be the nervous system anchor for his family. Because that's what we are as the masculine. We are holding that nervous system coherent, safe space for all of our family, for our community. And how can we show up in that? Well, we must heal what's in the way of that, and then to be able to be in a place of leadership. And this could be on a very small level. This could be on a very grand level. It doesn't matter. You have a specific dharma that's encoded within you. So what you're going to get in this community, it's inside school, which is, I have another community in school. You might be a part of it already, but it's a great little platform. And in here, we have the elemental core curriculum. So we go deep into these four pillars, right? Earth, water, air, fire. We have full trainings over these next 4 months we're going to go into. So how do you actually embody earth? How do you embody air, water, and fire? We're going to go into that. We have these monthly council calls where we're going to come on Zoom. Every single one of us are going to have an opportunity to speak and share. What do you got going on in your life? What can't you bring to your partner? What can't you bring to anybody else? Bring it here. This is the space for it. This is where you get held accountable and get real-time coaching from Sean and I. We have courses and trainings. We're going to always be added to this. This is just resources for you to tap into right away. We have summits and events. We had our Masculine Mastery Summit, if you remember, from 2023, all of those interviews. And then I just recently did a summit last month called the Mastery Summit, all of those interviews. Again, resources for you to tap into. Guided breath work, Beats and Breath, my app. I've added a bunch of different breathwork sessions, journeys that you can tap into when, hey, you're feeling that doubt, that fear, it's coming up. This is the moment. I got to tap in. I got to breathe. I got to reset myself. We've put that in there. And then lastly, priority access to retreats. And so we have different retreats that we do every year, and we will give everybody in the community first access to come to those retreats before we open it up to the public. And lastly, we do have a beautiful ambassador program. So you come into the community, you join, you can earn passive revenue and income every month by just referring this to other brothers. Say, hey, like I feel like this would be great for your life. They sign up, you get basically money each month to just share this with other brothers and get the men in. But this is the time that we rise up together. So right now we are keeping it low. It's $55 a month. There has to be skin in the game. Trust me, I've done free shit in the past, and everybody that says, "Oh, I'll be in there," nobody shows up. But you got to be a little skin in the game for you guys to actually be like, all right, I'm gonna show up. I'm gonna fucking contribute. I'm gonna give my energy, and share myself with other men and be held accountable. So literally for less than $2 a day, you can join for $55 a month. And this is the founding member offer we're going to keep open for a little bit. So if you're into it, obviously, like I'm calling all you forward. And, again, you can listen to the podcast, do the courses, but if you don't have a circle of men that are coming and rising together, then, it's just harder. It's just so much harder. So I'm going to put the link in the chat. If you guys have questions right now, you can obviously share those questions, put them here. If you have anything at all that's coming up for you, but that's what we got for you. Link is in the chat. I put the Mastery Collective in there. That's my other group. You can join that one too.
Can I add something, Chris, real
Yeah,
quick?
go ahead.
So just one last thing I want to say here, just a couple quick things that wasn't included on there. I know that for us as men, we need to be challenged, and we need to make this fun too. So another big intention for this group is, yes, we're going to do shadow work. We're going to dive deep into these emotional things. We're going to go there with each other. But also we're gonna laugh. We're gonna have fun. We're gonna tell stories. We're gonna make this almost like a little bit of a game, right? And because without that challenge, we get stagnant. And if we're all calling each other forward, like I know for me, my vision is doing some weekly or monthly challenges. Like, hey, I'm gonna start this thing. Who's with me? And then we're going to talk about it, hold each other accountable to it. There's going to be a lot of things that emerge from within this, and it's a really incredible thing to get a core group of men, right? Because this is the beginning. We're opening this up, and we know where the world's going. There's going to be a lot of men that are going to be forced to start seeking tribe and spaces like these. So to have men like you who show up like you did today, especially like time zone change, everything, a Sunday, that shows me a big piece of who you are and why you're here. And so to have that as a core pillar of this group, that energy is going to be massive, and it's going to have such an impact. And if we can create that kind of core foundation from within here, I can see it starting to hold a lot of other guys as we go. And the last thing is, um, we all know it. There's that version of us that we can tune into. We can feel it. There's this incredible potential in there, and it's very fucking frustrating when you feel like you can't access it, or it's very challenging to touch that. I can promise you, iron sharpen iron sharpens iron, and all of us getting together and showing up and being in that place of receiving what we didn't even know was possible before, because we're in the field of receiving now with all of our energies together combined. um, it's gonna bring forth that potential. And I'm not just saying this as like in like a motivational way. It's just truth. It's like, what if this is the point where for all of us, we let go of what was, and we step into that whole new possibility, and we actually give a birth canal for that version of us that we've tuned into, that we're like, oh, that guy's a fucking badass. That's who I know myself to be. Why can't I bring him forth? Like, we're all going to help each other to do that. And only through brotherhood can we really achieve that. We can't do it on our own, because we're so in the bottle with a lot of things that we can't see some of the things that are happening. And for with other men to call you out and forward, and to be able to see things that you can't, um, there's no greater impact than that. And there's no greater way to know yourself beyond the bullshit, than to have brothers around you and being like, hey, here's what I'm feeling, here's what I'm seeing come up right now. So I just wanted to add that in there. It's going to be fun, it's going to be a journey, and it's going to be something that, when you as we get going, it's going to be like, wow, I didn't know how fucking bad I needed that. Like, for real. Chris knows that we've been doing this a long time now, and we've seen it, and it's like, that's the best thing, seeing guys come alive again and remember who they are. And we're all going to be doing this together in this brotherhood.
Absolutely. So, guys, from what we've seen, a lot of times is that, you can actually make a business partner, a friend, and really come into this space and just really create synergy and connection, which is all of what we need right now in this modern era. And we are all going through a lot. So, you know, you can you could do what you please, of course. This is a free will choice. Nobody's forced to do anything, but I will just leave it here and call each of you out that, if you move beyond this and over the next 24, 48 hours, this energy from today is going to fade. And so, if you're serious about your growth and want to come together with other like-minded men, Sean and I are there to support you. And, we're here to hold a really powerful space together. So, our welcome call is going to be in a few weeks. That's where we're all going to be able to introduce each other, and then we'll have our monthly calls. We have a calendar already up. There's already courses in there, a bunch of stuff. So love to see you in there. Diego's already in. He joined. Beautiful brother. Anybody else have questions? Anything that you have? Um, Let me know. And you can put it in the chat or you can unmute yourself if anybody has anything else before we let you go. And we'll be sending the replay to this, obviously, for you guys if you want to go back through it in any way. But would love to see each and every single one of you in there and, sending you all the love. I'll leave the space open for just a moment. Diego, you got a question, brother?
No, but I just wanted to say something really quick.
Sure.
I totally agree with everything you guys been saying today. Um, I've been a quadriplegic since the age of 7. I've had a different perspective on life. Everyone has a different perspective on life, but something that I've been learning is vulnerability and learning that together we're stronger. So I'm so ready and looking forward to this, Christopher. Thank you.
Thank you, Diego. I appreciate you, brother. Diego's been a part of some of my other stuff too, and just appreciate your support and just continuing to step in, man, amongst all of your life and your
Absolutely.
story and everything. Appreciate you. Love you, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody else? Sean, you got anything last words before we let this group go?
I guess the last thing for me is, again, it's such an honor to be here, and it feels very exciting that we finally reached a point in the human story where men are ready for this kind of thing, and to come into brotherhood and to seek that and to ditch this whole lone wolf phase of the human story, because that is just so ready to go. And I didn't know what I didn't know, and when I stepped into my first men's group back in 2018, the youngest guy was like 50 years old, besides me, and I couldn't believe how much that brought forth this immature, scared little boy, wounded teenager that I didn't even know was there, that their awareness and being around me brought out. And that's what really allowed the man within me to step forward. And being around that fire, speaking to the things that I wanted to hide in shame, all of that stuff. So, this is, again, to me, there's no more powerful medicine than this. And to show up and to have the guys around you also showing up, I feel like we got to have this to change the planet, and to not to like get dramatic about it, but also, things are getting tighter, the pressure's building, and men, like Chris said, I know a lot of guys in my life that have committed suicide recently or have really spiraled in addiction, and it's like it doesn't need to be that way. It doesn't need to be that way if we could just be open enough to have a new experience and see what it's like within a container like this, with all of us doing this together. um, the possibility and what how different our life can be even just a few months from now is immense, and I can't overstate that. So yeah, I'm honored to be here with you guys and share a space with men like you. And yeah, we really hope to see you within that community to keep this going. It's like we're just getting started. We are really just getting started here, and all of us doing that together is gonna pave a completely new path, and that's exciting to me.
Beautiful. Well, guys, thank you for your energy. Thank you for your time. For those of you that do join us, there will be plenty of space for you guys to share yourselves and for you to open up as well. That's what it's about. It's an interactive, integrated space. So, sending you guys all the love on your Sunday. Get back to whatever you're doing. Love you guys. Appreciate you. And we'll talk to you soon. Peace.
Peace, much love, brothers.